welcome. This is Prime News. I'm Mike Galanos. Cops in Virginia have just found criminal charges against the stepdad of missing 2-year-old Aveion Lewis. Again, we look at the innocent brown eyes of this little guy. What happened to him? His stepdad, Brandon Lockett, originally said intruders knocked him out, ransacked the house, and when he came to, little Aveion was gone. Let's listen to that story.
I heard a knock at the door. I went to the back door, and all I remember was boom. That's all I remember. When I came to, my wife was standing over me, and my son was, he was crying. And my daughter, she was gagged upstairs in her room.
Well, we're finding out that story was a load of bull. Cops say Lockett confessed the little guy is dead. He's facing charges of child neglect, improper disposal of a body, obstruction of justice, all that, but not murder. And we don't know what happened to little Aveion as of yet. What about his mom? Was she in on it? Taking your questions, your calls, your theories, 1-877-TEL-HLN. Joining me to talk about this, welcome back, Investigator Steve Rogers, Detective Lieutenant, Nutley, New Jersey Police Department. Steve, let's start there. We hear all these other charges. Why not murder? Do you think that's coming?
Well, that probably will be coming, Mike, but they'll no doubt need the body before they lodge any charge against him regarding murder. He probably confessed to everything else. That's why they've charged him with that. But the key is the body. Once they have the body, they have the evidence, and they'll be able to tell just how this baby died.
Okay. Steve, as you've watched this case, were you suspect of this story from the get-go of being knocked out by strangers and a $10,000 ransom note and all that?
So often on your program, Mike, we see these individuals come before microphones. You bet I was. As soon as I saw that interview, I had that gut feeling, this guy's lying.
Okay. What do you think? Let's stop there for just a moment. You know, we see this and we're thinking the gall, and that's a light term for what we're seeing here, that you could go on camera, almost seek out the camera to forward this lie. I mean, is that how brazen people are now?
Well, they are, and what I find really incredible is that I'm sure they watch television and they hear of stories that happen to other people regarding incidents like this. They actually believe they're going to get away with it, but everybody gets caught, Mike. Every single person gets caught.
Well, I like to hear that. Naki, do we have more? We'd like to listen to a little bit more from, again, this is stepfather Brandon Lockett, when he was telling this story, again, a load of bull. And let's listen to it, Steve, watch it, and kind of decipher it for us and see if you can pick up cues that the guy's lying. Here's Brandon Lockett.
I heard a knock at the door. I went to the back door, and all I remember was boom. That's all I remember. When I came to, my wife was standing over me, and my son was, he was crying. And my daughter, she was gagged upstairs in her room.
All right, Steve, as you listen to that, and he's got the hat pulled down a little bit, he's looking down. What cues are you picking up on?
Well, he's being very deceptive. You're right. The hat is over the head. He won't look into the camera. His face is down. This is the profile of a criminal who just is trying to deceive everyone in his path.
Take us inside an interrogating room, Steve. How do you drill down on a guy like this to get him to ultimately, as he did, confess? What questions do you ask? What cues do you pick up on?
Well, what's going to happen now, and I'm glad you asked that question, is I believe what the police ultimately have to do is maybe deal with him. Say, look, we know you did it. We have enough evidence that leads us to believe that you committed this crime. You've got everything to lose and, perhaps a little bit to gain if you give us a confession. So I believe that's the only way the police are going to probably solve this case.
Okay, let me read a Facebook comment here. It's from Robin and Lou writing, the stepdad story didn't mesh right from the very beginning. And we had questions about that story. You want to give someone, a family member, the benefit of the doubt out of the gate. But this day and age, you have to start with those closest, right, Steve?
Mike, if you notice, just about every case that you had aired, I think close to 90% of the time zeroed in right on the family, and sure enough, it was a family member who committed the crime.
Yeah, it is sad to say, isn't it, Steve? We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk to the reporter who's been covering this since day one, has new insight into this investigation. Still the question, what happened to this cute little 2-year-old? And we'll take your calls, 1-877